Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as we're going to have a loaded show for you here on this Wednesday. We're going to talk about all things going on with Razorback football, some latest developments of some things that we've been talking about all week, but changed up a little bit. We'll get into that, as well as last night, the 4-year SEC schedule officially released for the SEC, and the Razorbacks are included. We'll have some reactions to that and talk about that. We'll have some basketball news going on there and have some fun with, of course, the chat and our heavy hitters and all that great stuff. But we appreciate all of you tuning in today. Fellas, it's Wednesday. It's hump day. How are the vibes here today?
Boys. Man, I'm a little pissed off. I've been pissed on, amongst other things. The last 12 hours have been crazy. I'm surprised that I am here at the start of this show, but I consider that a small victory. Therefore, at this very moment, I'm turning the day around. So the vibes are pretty much bottomed out, but they're trending in the right direction from here. Thanks to you guys, actually.
Well, I like to hear that, Curtis. I appreciate you for soldiering through and making it here and being a part of this, man. And we wish you well on your journeys. But now we are in our safe space. This is our bubble. This hour and a half, nothing outside of this room, nothing outside of here can hurt us. This is just where we come to talk ball, love, support. You know what it is? You know, we talk about talking season, which is obviously leading up to the season, media day. You're really talking about, oh, hey, our team's going to do this. Our team's going to do that. You know what we have now entered? It's the regular season, which for most teams is just the season where you're playing football and that's what you're worried about. We are now, as Razorback fans, in hearing season. People are hearing things. Everyone you've ever met is hearing something. And it is kind of convenient how a lot of the things that people hear usually come out right after we do the show. Roughly right around then, people start hearing some things. But be careful, guys, because you're gonna see tweets. Hey, I'm hearing that this is happening. I'm hearing that this is happening. And it's easy to get excited, but we're gonna try and find the real truth somewhere in the middle. And maybe we'll never actually find it, but it's fun to talk about it.
Yeah, in fact, just random, but I remember, Andrew, I was thinking about podcast names. I always thought about having a podcast just called Here's What I'm Hearing, or like I'm Hearing This, just called that, because the amount of times, especially when craziness is going on in sports and here locally in Arkansas, it's always about who's hearing what. And people go to certain people and say, oh, well, this guy said this, well, maybe this guy said this. It's all crazy, but at the end of the day, and I'm not hating on anybody in the media, I'm just always saying any big significant news has usually been broken by national media members, except for like Wes Moore breaking the John Calipari story. Like that's about the one time where I was like, yeah, the biggest story of it all was actually broken by a local media member. But it's kind of that way. And that really sets us up to get into the first topic of discussion here today, dealing with the Razorbacks, because we had played a clip, I guess it was on Monday, and we had talked a lot about it with Brandon Marcello, who is a college football writer. We know he was based here in Arkansas, but he does national headlines. He's as plugged in as anybody in college football. And he had even tweeted out a clip and talked about, hey, is Bobby Petrino trying to make himself as the interim coach? Is he working the phones and all of that? Well, yesterday, Brandon Marcello quote tweeted that video and said, quote, this caught fire in Arkansas, so here's an update. Said, let's be clear. Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino have been / are close. They help each other a lot. They're trying to fix the Hogs. Petrino is not undercutting. Many I've talked to believe he's now the logical choice if an interim is needed. So he tweets that out, and I'm going to play this video as well as our boy Frank Fletcher down there in Little Rock goes on 103.7 The Buzz and has this to say about the reporting and the stories about Bobby Petrino working the phones.
I've spoken to Bobby Petrino, and he is a close friend of mine, has been for many years. And there's absolutely no truth in this whatsoever. He has not made a call to anyone. And anyone that wants to say he has, they ought to come on the radio and tell a lie themselves, because he hasn't talked to anybody. No one. I talked to him. I said, what are you doing? He said, all I'm doing is game planning. He said, I don't look at the internet. I don't post on the internet. I don't read the internet. That Sam and I are getting along great. We're going to try to win this Notre Dame game. And he said, Frank, I promise you, I have not called anyone, nor has anyone called me. He said, is just absolutely bull. You know, I know him well. I think he's very loyal to Coach Pittman, and I just wanted to come on the radio and tell people that know me that this is not the truth, and this is.
All right, so there's Frank Fletcher on 103.7 The Buzz this morning on Morning Mayhem, kind of giving his side of it. So, you know, between the Frank Fletcher deal and the Brandon Marcello and kind of backtracking on his tweet, just what do you guys make of this kind of current scenario and current story of what's going on?
I should have had a moonwalk video queued up for all the backtracking here today, but I didn't. Guys, all I ask is that we have a little bit of awareness here today. That's all I ask, because I get it. You can take it for surface level, or you can try to think about what's really going on here. I just highly doubt that Brandon Marcello just, said what he said on Sunday, knowing that it was complete bullshit. Like he just, he's not the type of guy that's just going to put something out there that's completely untrue. He's not just going to make it up and throw it out there. That's not how he operates. There are people that do that. That's other outlets. It's not him. So I know a lot of people are in here saying he needs to be held accountable. This is unbelievable. Fire, that's crazy. Did he embellish what he heard? Maybe so. I don't know exactly what he heard. But did he hear what he said he did? I strongly assume so, because I just can't imagine a world where he would just say that, talking out of the side of his neck. Now, is it entirely within the realm of possibility here that Bobby's people or the U of A or somebody reached out to Brandon and said, hey, bro, we really don't want that type of messaging out there right now. Like, this is difficult enough as it is, and you just made it worse. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened here. I don't know that for sure, but if I'm connecting the dots, that's it. So, and then you have Frank Fletcher going on the Buzz saying what he said today. What this screams to me is that the preference over there is to try and get through this season, regardless of how things play out on the field, before making a change. Otherwise, why the hell would you care about who's doing what right there, right now? So it seems to me like between that backtracking and between the interview on the Buzz and all that a concerted effort is being made to reestablish a little bit of continuity and stop rocking the boat over there. We're preparing for Notre Dame. There you go. So do with that what you will. Connect your own dots. I've connected my own. That's what I think is going on here personally.
Yeah, I think you did a good job laying that out. And I think what we do in the world a lot of times is we're so caught up in who's right, who's wrong, which side are you on? Are you on this side or are you on that side? And we have to be very against each other. There's no room for anything in between. There's no nuance here. But this is a very nuanced situation. So Brandon has his report. Sunday comes out. He speaks about the Sam Pittman situation, the Bobby Petrino situation. We react to it. I need you guys as the audience to understand why us, the three people who cover this program, it's notable for us when a national reporter of Marcello's, esteemed, nature goes out and speaks about Bobby Petrino because we know how plugged in he is. That's why we thought it was notable. We talked about it. It's also notable when Brandon comes back out 2 days later and clarifies a little bit and says, well, it's maybe not that cut and dry. That is also notable. It is okay to react to the news under the report that came out Sunday, feel the way you feel about it, and then a couple days later, you hear something else. And to your point, Curtis, I'm not going to speak for Brandon. He can do that for himself. Mm-hmm. He pretty clearly states to me that, like, he got someone else that reached out to him, whether it was the same person who gave him the stuff on Sunday, but he clearly heard conflicting things that, hey, maybe this isn't as much of a coup by Bobby Petrino to come take the throne or anything like that, which, by the way, is perfectly fine. And I think you touched on a great point, Curtis, that the messaging coming from the U of A, it's no surprise at all that they don't want that. They don't want there to be all these rumors and reports and circulation about their OC trying to take the head coaching job. They have a game on Saturday. Pittman's trying to win Saturday. Petrino's trying to win Saturday. They're all on the same page, and they want that to be the public message. I have no issue with that whatsoever. So it makes 100% sense to me why someone in the U of A would hear Brandon's report, take exception to it, reach out to Brandon, and maybe even talk to some people at the U of A or whatever. So it's all it's all fine. And so, I don't really have too much of a problem with it. And then Frank, of course, speaks because he's friends with Bobby. He has a very good right to speak on it himself. He comes out and sells his piece. That's perfectly fine. I don't think the solution here is to try and be like, well, who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Who's doing whatever? I think there's room for a little bit of nuance in between. And to your point, Curtis, it's going to be kind of fascinating to see how this plays out. But I think you nailed it pretty well there that, like, ideally, everyone involved with the U of A just wants to get through, at the very least, this week. They're trying to beat Notre Dame. That needs to be their only goal. You're a coach of the University of Arkansas. That should be the only thing you're thinking about is beating Notre Dame. And so we'll see how that goes on. But it is very fascinating, this little whirlwind, and it's only Wednesday, and the job is not even open, and nothing is really going on. And so I want to issue this to you listeners, like, be very careful. When you hear things, it's okay to be surprised, be intrigued, maybe even change the way you view things, but don't jump all the way to conclusions one way or the other. We're going to try our best not to do that, but strap in, folks, because this is just day 3 of like what is going to be a very long and very crazy hearing stuff season.
Yeah, I am like, I'm with you guys on everything. I just always find timing and coordination really interesting because, first off, Brandon Marcello is one of the best in the business, and he has no agenda. Like there's no like, oh, he's anti-Arkansas or pro-Arkansas. Like he doesn't have any sort of agenda or narrative that's getting thrown out there. But I do find it fascinating that Brandon made those comments on Sunday. He even takes the video and the clip and tweets it himself and quote tweets it himself. Like, like, hey, not only did I say that, but I want to show everybody that I said that in this clip. And then last night is when he, I guess, reiterates or updates the statement. And then you have Frank Fletcher this morning. I'm with you. It's like something had to have happened. I don't know who was involved. Like, I don't know who talked to who. I don't know who was working the phones in this regard. But there's just something that had to have happened either last night or yesterday or something for all of this to happen at once. And I don't know, again, I don't know if we'll ever know who did it, but you're talking about comments that were made on Sunday. And here we are, I guess, I don't know what exact time it was yesterday. I know it was in the evening, or at least afternoon, evening, when Brandon Marcello says this. It's like, so you're talking about like 3 days of this marinating, us talking about it, other places talking about it, writing articles about it. And then this kind of comes out. So yeah, something happened, something changed, and it happened here recently. And I again, you may never know, but man, I'd love to know who, and I love to know why. I would love to know those two things of why this happened.
Yeah. I mean, this is a classic duck on the pond situation where you want everything to appear to be as calm as possible on the surface, but underneath it's just paddling like crazy. So many different things going on there. I think about it from Bobby's side of things too. And again, I'm not saying that it's true that he's, heating up the phones, trying to, get Pittman's job or take over if he gets fired or whatever. I have no idea if it is or not. But even if it is true, if I'm Bobby Petrino, I don't want that to be public knowledge. I don't want that to be out there because it is kind of a look. And honestly, if he does take over the team after the bye week or at some point this season, he probably doesn't want to have that reputation, for lack of the better word, throughout the rest of the coaching staff, throughout the rest of the team and everything like that, where it was like, damn, man, you couldn't even let the body get cold before you came in there and swooped in. He would probably want as seamless of a transition also. So even from his side of things, I wouldn't be crazy about the optics there. And that's what a lot of this is, right? Is optics. I don't think it changes the big picture situation here with Arkansas and, its football coach and the direction of the program and where all this is headed. But it is interesting how the narrative is getting shifted here over the course of the last 12, 15 hours or so.
Yeah, you mentioned optics, and I think that's important because whether it's Brandon Marcello, whether it's Adam Schefter, whether it's Woj, whether it's any like very prominent national reporter, all the time, they are fed information that people want them to run with. Like, that is a thing that happens. If you're at the University of Arkansas and you want a narrative out there, well, I would call Brandon Marcello. I would call, Stuart Mandel, or I'd call somebody and maybe get that thing going. And so I think that's important, Curtis, that this is always going to be a thing, that people that want a public message to be portrayed, they're going to talk to the Brandon Marcellos of the world, and that's how you have some of this stuff come about. But I also think it's very important to note that part of why we were very intrigued by Brandon's initial report is because it differed greatly from what we had heard before and what we had felt. And I know there's obviously disagreements about that. We had kind of, going back to a year, we didn't even really buy that Bobby Petrino would ever have any real interest in being a head coach at Arkansas or a head coach at the SEC level, or that was really something in the cards for him. So that's part of why we reacted as strongly as we did to the initial report. Is like, whoa, this kind of came out of nowhere. Like, wow, Bobby's making a run at head coach. And so it actually kind of does make sense why there needed to be some clarification of like, hey, I said this, but it didn't necessarily mean that. And here's the truth somewhere in the middle here. And now we can kind of move forward and try and figure this thing out. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of changing here. This is not a right or wrong, black or white issue. There's going to be a lot in the middle here. But it is kind of fascinating. And in terms of how it affects Arkansas and how it affects the people in that athletic department, like, I don't envy them because this is kind of a tough situation here. And you're 100% right that if you're Petrino and you actually are trying to make a coup, you don't want everyone to know about it. That kind of ruins the point of you taking, slipping in and taking that thing, by storm if everyone knows you're going to do it. And so I think we should all just maybe exercise some patience here and just kind of wait and see how this thing plays out. Arkansas loses 70-0 on Saturday. We'll be right back to square one of figuring out everything. I just think this is very fascinating and interesting, the positioning that's happening even on Wednesday of game week.
Also love the fact that in that Frank Fletcher quote, he's like, Bobby don't read the internet, get on the internet, look at the internet and anything like that. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe Bobby should, because I feel like there's a lot more people that are in his corner than he probably would even realize.
The extent of his technology, John, is watching game film while he's driving to work. So
Yep.
Well, he's got the VR headsets too, so
that's right.
Maybe that's where he's doing.
Yeah, well, let's hope he's not doing that as much anymore. But either way, fascinating stuff of what's going on with the Razorback football team, and we'll continue on with the discussion. But let's get into some other things. I want to remind everybody that SARACEN is your #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. It's not even close. I mean, come on. I mean, how much money that you can end up winning with some of the great specials that they have daily, each and every day, other than SARACEN. And listen, if you haven't used SARACEN yet, if you're new to the game and you want to get in on it, here's what you do. You go to the link, click the link below in our description, or you can scan that QR code on your screen and it's going to take you right to the app. And when you get to the app and you download it, you get a promo code. You have a choice for a promo code. Well, make sure you use the code INSIDEAR. That's INSIDEAR, because when you bet $25, you get $125. It's as simple as that. And it's the best way to have some fun this season in football, college football, NFL, all the games, all the matchups, all the specials, the prop plays for Razorback football as well. Do it with the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. It's SARACEN. Download it today by clicking on a link in the description, as well as using that QR code on your screen, and use code INSIDEAR to get $125 when you bet $25. Okay, guys, I know we'll get into the schedule and everything too, but this is kind of the thing. Going back to what we've talked about, I'm not saying that this should have been asked Sam Pittman on Monday, but I always love the dramas a little bit too much, but I just love the ins and outs of all of this. The different strings being pulled from different people and different angles, and it just made me wonder if, on that Monday press conference, if Sam Pittman had been asked about that comment from Brandon Marcello, like, hey, Brandon Marcello said that there's some, Bobby's working the phones or whatever. I just would have liked to have seen what the reaction would have been from Pittman and feeling that way. And so I'm curious of your guys' thoughts, because again, we don't know, but if you're Sam Pittman right now, he can say that he's preparing for the game. He can say that, like, he does read the internet. We know he does. We know he reads Twitter and social media. Like, what do you think his vibe is right now? Like, do you think that he's just focused on the game? Is he reading it all and being like, this is over with, I'm done with? Like, what do you think he's talking to Bobby and the coach being like, hey, do you guys not like me anymore? Like, what do you think Pittman's current mental state and everything that's going on with all the speculation and rumors swirling?
Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday I almost feel like this is our fault in a way, because we started talking about, like, man, what kind of message is this sending? Like, if that's out there, how does Sam feel about this? Like, you're fighting for your life and your OC is trying to get your job. And I mean, we called that into question yesterday of, like, man, this is a really, kind of a strange pickle that Arkansas finds itself in here. Did either one of you guys listen to the teleconference this morning?
I didn't have a chance to. I didn't either. I was a little bit busy. So I would imagine if he got asked about it, then we would have seen something come out, and I don't know who would do it unless there was some national guy or some guy from On3 trying to get a headline or whatever. So, listen, if you're the type of guy, and I don't know if it's him or whoever runs his account or whatever, but if, like, you're blocking hundreds of fans on Twitter for, saying mean things about you or your program, I would imagine you would also be sensitive to the stuff we were hearing, whether it was true or not. Like, if that comes out, I have a feeling that would impact him. Hell, it would impact me if I was in his situation. So I don't know what that would look like, but
I would probably definitely at least call him up and be like, yo, Bobby, like, are you seeing this? Say it ain't so, man. I thought we were in this together. And I think that's the entire point of why this is happening here today with some of the things that we're seeing here. You don't want that. Because you still do have a task at hand. Hell, with as much line movement as we've had so far, Arkansas might be an outright favorite against Notre Dame by the time we get to the kickoff on Saturday. You do have a game to try to win, and a lot of guys are fighting for their jobs here. And so whether it's true or not, whether you're doing a fake it till you make it, you need to have as much status quo, continuity, hey, we're just focused on football here as possible, but that's got to be increasingly difficult to do when some of these headlines are coming out there. So yeah, I bet he is impacted by it. And I bet there has been a discussion over it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure he's impacted by it. And to your point, John, he absolutely is reading everything on the internet. Like, he is very aware of the public perception and all that. And I'm sure he feels some type of way about it. How Sam Pittman feels honestly doesn't matter a whole lot. What matters is how those players feel. How, again, also some of those coaches. So I'm sure there needs to be some conversations with Bobby, conversations with the staff. But you mentioned, Curtis, the task at hand. Everyone in that room, the players, the coaches, the support staff, everybody has a job. Mm-hmm. I think that's Sam Pittman's main priority right now, is making sure everyone keeps doing their job and they keep doing it at the highest level possible. And I think that has to be your message to the team is, there's all this outside noise, and we do, coaches do this speech all the time. Block out the outside noise. Don't read the headlines. Rat poison, blah, blah, blah. It can be hard when you're winning and you're trying to get them to not notice everyone hyping them up. It can be hard when you're losing and you're reading everybody saying that they suck. It can be even harder when you have all these big picture questions about the program. And so I think that's Sam Pittman's job, is he has to convince that locker room nothing else matters. Notre Dame is the only thing that matters. Who the hell knows what's going to happen next week? Who the hell knows what's going to happen next year? We got to beat Notre Dame Saturday. Let's just focus on that. And you have to, and that's a very hard thing to do. It's way easier said than done, but that has to be the only priority. And so I hope that as much as we are talking about this big picture stuff, and as much as we are talking about Bobby Petrino's plans and all that, I hope that inside that locker room, they are finding a way to kind of come together, block out the noise, and just do what they have to do. And who knows if they will or not, but I think we'll get a pretty good indication. We'll know Saturday if they are all kind of rowing in the same direction or not.
Yeah, and I think consistency on Sam Pittman's part is extremely important. I mean, consistency is important in any regard, but it's like, the last thing you want to do as a coach, I would feel like in this particular situation, is to come off in like panic mode of like, being different from what you are approaching another game. Just be like, guys, we got to do this. We got to win this. Because then it comes off as almost like a desperation thing, and it could really be inconsistent as far as the messaging goes. So if I'm Pittman, yeah, I'm kind of just doing business as usual. Whether people are on board with that or not is up for debate. But as far as within those walls and within the team, I think it just needs to be that. I think it needs to be the messaging of, guys, we're literally just a couple plays away from being undefeated. No one wants to hear that, but we're right there. We can do this. We can beat Notre Dame. Their defense sucks. Chris Ash is terrible. We can go for 80 points on this team. We can do this. Just try to and do it in front of your own fans. It's going to be at a home game. This is a unique thing. So try to approach it that way is how I would if I was Pittman. But like we've talked about, though, he's a guy that definitely has seen stuff on social media and reads stuff and hears things. And we've seen it impact him in some ways. Has it impacted in his direct coaching on game day? I don't know. But it's impacted him enough to where he does go through the efforts of blocking people, of staying off of it, of deleting his social media, of bringing up people on the internet, making mountains out of molehills or whatever he says. It does impact him. So, I think it's important for that to not happen here. But that's what I'm fascinated by, is because there's certain coaches like Nick Saban. I know I keep bringing up, but Nick Saban did not give two rips to what anybody said on social media, because one, he didn't have it, and two, he would only sound off if a journalist triggered him on a question. But there's a lot of coaches that wouldn't impact. I don't think John Calipari is impacted by what people say on Twitter at all. I really don't. And some coaches, though, if they are impacted by it, it could impact the psyche and their development and their resentment, maybe. So either way, it's just more of a mental game on that front that could end up being. But hopefully Pittman's focused in.
What does Sam blame more, Arkansas Twitter or the heat?
Oh, dude, did you see that video that was circulating of like
Yeah.
Sam being like, "Hey, I don't want them to run in the heat. Let's go in the indoor and give them ice cream or whatever."
I
Like
know.
that's
It's just when you brought up the oh shoot, the stupid show, the Love Island thing that they did. And it was like, I remember at the time we were thinking, oh, people are up in arms about this, but it's funny, it's pretty cool. But man, if things go south, it could backfire on them. I didn't think it would be the ice cream deal that did, but that's the risk you run with all those things. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Like, you want to be creative and everything like that, but sometimes any opportunity in this social media era that folks can take to throw something back on, the faces of people when things are going bad, they'll take it. And yeah, I saw that.
I mean, listen, it comes with the territory of being a person in a very high position of leadership. You get blamed for everything. People talk about you. They talk about your job. They make fun of you. They will celebrate you when you're winning. They will make fun of you when you're losing. I know Sam at the Monday press conference cited it like it was a bad thing. He was like, well, when you win, everyone has a good perception of you. And when you lose, they have a bad perception of you. And so, the only thing that's going to change it is if we go out there and win. He said that like he was annoyed by that. But I think that's the right mentality of like, yeah, just go out there and win. Like, don't, to the point you were making, John, like, don't worry about what everybody else is saying, because it really means nothing as long as you and your team believe it, as long as you and your team are doing this. But here's what I don't want to hear is the excuse of, well, we would have won, but everybody was talking about Bobby and they were talking about this, and that's why we couldn't focus. It's like, because that's not what the good teams do. The good teams do not accept that as an excuse. The good coaches don't accept that as an excuse of like, oh, people are talking about me. I'm a head coach in an SEC school getting paid. I'm the highest paid employee in the state of Arkansas. People are talking about me like that. If that's what's worrying you and that's what's going to get you out of your game and that is going to ruin your motivation for beating Notre Dame inside your own stadium on Saturday, you're in the wrong business altogether. And so we can talk about it and we can be blamed. If you want to blame us on Saturday after you lose and you want to blame it, that just shows us that you're in the wrong business is what it tells me.
I'm going to quote a really, really great quote from one of my favorite movies of Remember the Titans, where Julius Campbell says, attitude reflects leadership, captain. And it's, to me, if you have a head coach whose attitude is about those mean people on social media and those people on that, the players are going to feel that too. And like, they're going to say, like, man, if he cares about it, we care about it. We'll listen to it, and I don't know if you guys get the same thing, but I feel like every so often I'll get a screenshot from some random person and be like, did you see what our backup offensive lineman picture that he liked here? And it's like some meme about Arkansas. And I'm like, sure. Like, I just, there's too many people on there paying attention to stuff like that. But either way, my point is like, you can't, if you want to cut it off where, hey, it's just within these walls, then you yourself need to be somebody that cuts it off within the walls and just doesn't deal with it. Like, then doesn't listen to it. Because if you listen to it, your players are going to listen to it and your players are going to have it impacted. It's as simple as that. We'll get into some more of your chats, and we'll also have a recruiting update with Dudley Dawson, because there was a decommitment that happened yesterday. So he's going to have some updates on us for that, as well as, of course, the new schedule, which we want to talk about. And we'll get into that. But first, let's give you a little update on our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. We've had a ton of people put their names into the hat, figuratively speaking, for the Halloween lighting giveaway that we will be giving away this Friday at Alumni Hall during Inside Arkansas Live, where you get, if you're in the Northwest Arkansas River Valley, if you go to insidearkansas.com/giveaways, fill out that form, you're going to have a chance to win a free lighting setup with Walter Christmas Lighting this Halloween. I've already seen a bunch of pictures and people show me videos of when the job that they did at their house. Incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible work. They have a passion for it. They're easy to work with, and our guy Brett is going to help you out each and every time. So again, if you have yet, you're in the Northwest Arkansas and River Valley, go to insidearkansas.com/giveaways, enter in your name, your address, all that good stuff, and then we'll have a random drawing and a giveaway on Friday during our show at Alumni Hall. But if you want a free estimate on what it would look like for your Halloween as well as your Christmas lights, give our guy Brett a text at 479-459-1380. That's 479-459-1380. You can also check out their Facebook page by scanning that QR code right there. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. Okay, I know we'll get some chats, but I did want to bring this up, guys, because this was obviously very important. Yesterday, we knew that the SEC was officially going to release the next 4-year schedule as far as who every SEC team plays and where they play them. They haven't have dates and everything yet, but with the 9-game schedule and all the craziness going on, we knew Arkansas's permanent opponents were going to be LSU, Texas, and Missouri. but now we know what it looks like for the next 4 years as far as locations and everything. So, guys, here are your next 4 years, next 4 seasons for Razorback football, as far as who you play, where you play them. And we can just start, of course, with next season. Your overall thoughts to having 5 home games, 4 road games, against 2, all that great stuff starting next season.
Arkansas has gotten the business far worse on several occasions than it did in this particular scenario here. Like, it's never going to be easy, man. It's the SEC and you're adding a game to it. So taking that into account, I look at this and who the hell knows what the program's going to look like next year, who's going to be running it, what the roster is going to be, whatever, but pretty darn exciting home schedule. You know what I mean? You love it. You got that extra home game, which, John, I know you talked about that quite a bit yesterday. I think there's a lot to like here. My only thing that I'm a little bit bothered by is not having Ole Miss on the schedule. I just think it's weird, but I get it. You're just not going to be able to have that every single year. Kind of part of the deal here, but I think it's cool that you see some teams you haven't seen in a while. Georgia coming in. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I say fun, but we'll see how it looks on the scoreboard. People will be excited about it, I guess I should say. It's cool that Tennessee's coming back here. I'm glad that that's kind of becoming a staple of the schedule here. Josh Heupel back to his House of Horrors. We'll see how it goes. South Carolina coming back in. That's cool. Like, it's just a team that you don't see that often. And then, it's kind of manageable on the road at Auburn, Texas, you're going there, whatever. At Texas A&M, I guess it's only fair that we have to roll over to College Station, fine. But the at Vanderbilt thing is might be what stood out to me the most. Andrew, I know you talked about it. You're like, shoot, if I had it my way, I'd take Kentucky and Vandy and Mississippi State or whatever. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter that were like, wow, of course we got to go to Vanderbilt when they're good. Diego Pavia ain't walking back through that door. You get to catch Vandy post Pavia. Okay.
Hey.
So they're not where they have been in the past. They're better than that, but you don't have to worry about him at least.
Hey, wait for the court to make their decision before you go spouting off, Curtis. Who knows? That 7th year might come back to bite you. Who knows?
I think I'll listen to Pavia, who said that was a bullshit report.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it. But no, I love the schedule. I mean, you mentioned, John, the 5 home games, which was huge. I mean, you could not get screwed on that. Now, one of those home games is Georgia. So I don't know how fun that's going to be, like you said, but I think it's fine overall. I mean, Vanderbilt having a road game that's winnable, and I would say Vanderbilt qualifies as that. Auburn maybe even qualifies as that. Like, I'll take that. That's perfectly fine. I mean, we haven't seen South Carolina and Fayetteville. I guess we did see them in 2022, but that used to be one of my favorite games growing up, was watching Arkansas, South Carolina. And so I have no complaints about next year's schedule. It is just weird looking out 4 years and you only play Ole Miss twice over the next 4 years. It's going to be it's going to make those games more special, maybe.
Well, I even think taking it another step further, you're not playing either Mississippi school next year. Like, I mean, you're not having any in Mississippi State either. Yeah. And so it is a little bit odd, but all things considered, and we've talked about it, you're not going to make everybody happy. We felt like the SEC permanent opponents was as good as you could ask. I didn't see any other SEC schools that were pissed about the permanent opponents that they were getting. And also, just speaking for Razorback fans, I didn't see many people upset with not only next year's schedule, but the next 4 years. I really like it. And I know that it makes it easier to like where you're playing every team home and away over a 4-year span. So it's kind of like, oh, we got screwed against this team this year. Well, just wait 2 years, you get them back. It's like, it makes it a lot easier to deal with when it comes to the scheduling. Who knows what some of these teams are going to look like? Who knows what Arkansas is going to look like? But as far as next year's schedule, you get Georgia, LSU, and Tennessee at home. Like, those are always going to be high quality, high-end teams. You got to go back to Texas. So you get back-to-back years at Austin, but you also get back-to-back years with Missouri at home. You go to Texas A&M, to Auburn, and to Vanderbilt. Who knows what, again, I don't know who the coach is going to be next year for Arkansas. So who knows? But the point is, your road schedule, it balances with the home schedule. I mean, it does a good job of balance. And so again, if I'm a Razorback fan, I can't really be upset by this. Do you feel like just as far as home games, is there a year in the next 4 years that you think is the best, or is it next year might be the best home game schedule?
I think that next year is probably the best.
Yeah, I would agree.
What about the road? Is there a certain year?
2027 is pretty good. Like having Bama and Texas and Ole Miss coming in, and then what you would hope would be a win in Kentucky. but I think I'm pretty partial to next year's. Plus, you have the extra game there with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That 2027 road schedule, man, at Florida, at LSU, you go to Starkville. I mean, that's
Norman. Yeah,
that's gonna be that'll be a really I don't know if fun is the right word. That's an intriguing road schedule there.
Yeah, I would say 2028 road schedule is brutal with at Georgia, at Tennessee, and at Texas. I mean,
yeah, that's tough.
And then at South Carolina, which is literally I think it's the furthest away from Fayetteville. Not that it matters because they fly, but I think it's the furthest away from Fayetteville. So either way,
and they're different at home. You know.
Yeah, very different. Is it Sandstorm? Is that what they do? I think. Yeah. But either way, so yeah. But the 2028 schedule to me, I like as far as the home schedule, and not to say it's easy because it's never going to be easy because who knows what these teams look like. Again, so much could change, folks. So much can change. But as far as all of that, I'm happy. I'm happy with what the SEC did. You know, that I thought that they'd be like, all right, I can't wait to be pissed off because be like, hey, by the way, next year you play at Georgia, at LSU, at Texas, and at Florida. It's like, no, I think they did a good job of balancing it out as best as they could, given you got 16 teams that you got to make happy, which is impossible. So I like it, though. I like it. I know we texted in the group, like, we're going to Nashville next year for sure, that Vanderbilt game.
Did we get an
Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, did we get an explanation for why they didn't just flip Texas and Missouri next year? Like, why Arkansas is going to Texas 2 years in a row, and you have Missouri coming in here 2 years in a row?
I don't know if they gave a specific explanation to that, but I remember them saying they're like, hey, basically, hey, let everybody know there are going to be some games from this year to next year that'll be the same.
Sure. I'm sure there's a
reason.
reason.
Yeah. I bet it's like Texas had X amount of home games, Missouri had X amount of home games, and it was like, this is just the way to make it work.
It's fine by me.
Yeah, because I think for Arkansas, like we talked about, getting 5 home games in the SEC next year was crucial because you have a road game in your non-conference, and I'm sure that played a huge factor in a lot of this too, of like looking at everyone's schedule, like, all right, let's find. I bet you they were kind of like, all right, let's find the teams that have a road game next year. Let's find the teams that don't, and then that's how we'll decide who gets more home games and all that. So again, I think the balance is great. I can't remember, guys. When was the last time Arkansas went to Vanderbilt? I'm honestly
Jay Cutler? No, it was that 2011 game. It was that 2011 game, wasn't it? Jerry Frank.
Yeah. So you're talking about 14. It'll be 15 years since Arkansas went to Vanderbilt. That has to be the longest stretch of an SEC team like playing at a location, because we know Vanderbilt came to Fayetteville in 2018 when they got wrecked. I mean, they got wrecked by everybody that year, but still, it's been so long since that happened. And the other one too was Kentucky at home in 2027. I was trying to think the last time Arkansas played Kentucky at home in football.
07?
Has it been that long? I mean, I remember them playing Kentucky at home then, but has it been that long? It might be.
Remember another one.
Petrino didn't play Kentucky at home, did he?
No.
2012. 2012, they played Kentucky at
right.
home, and Jonathan Williams caught 2 80-yard wheel routes for touchdowns as a freshman. One of Arkansas's 3 SEC wins, or 2 SEC wins in 2012.
Dude, so like that was funny that because I remember that, because that was the game that got canceled like in the fourth quarter or third quarter because of lightning, and Arkansas was winning 49-7. But yeah, I'm looking at the Arkansas Kentucky, and you were right. Yeah, it was 2012. This is what's crazy, guys. They've played Kentucky, let's see, 8 times since joining the SEC. Yeah, 8 times. And Kentucky has a winning record. They're 5-3 against Arkansas. But man,
that Lynn Bowden game, by the way, was at Kentucky for those in the chat that are talking about that. That was at Kentucky on Kroger Field.
Yeah, that was at Kentucky, 2012 game. You played him in 08 when Arkansas blew a lead, because I remember DeAnthony Curtis fumbled the ball and he never played again because Bobby hated him, because Bobby hates Kentucky. Like, he hates Kentucky. So, but yeah, I remember you lost in 07 pathetically. It's like and then you had the 7 overtime game. It's just funny, these games and what's transpired and all that. But either way, I mean, that's your schedule. You're going to play everybody. So anybody that's like, oh man, I want to go on this road trip, well, just wait a year or two. You'll get your wish. But it also here's what's going to be funny, guys. Like, what if the SEC adds teams? Like, what's going to happen then?
They will. That's why they're doing this 4-year thing, because they know in 2030 they're going to be bringing North Carolina and whoever else in.
I was going to ask if this 4-year thing meant that there will be no expansion in this 4 years. Obviously,
so.
there's the door for expansion is always going to be open, but does that officially close it for the next 4 years?
I mean, I would hope so, but at the same time, though, I mean, does the SEC control when a team's trying to get out or when a team's trying to get in? And because if that happens, like not next year, maybe next year after that, somebody joins or two teams joins, everyone's gonna be like, oh, come on, man! Like we already said. And then all of a sudden, Arkansas was like, all right, now you have to go to now Georgia, you got to go to LSU, you got to go to Texas, you got to go to Clemson. It's just gonna be awful. It's gonna be awful how that all plays out. But again, it's for what it is now for the next 4 years. I'm good with it. I'm absolutely good with it. So. All right, let's go ahead and get to some of your chats, folks, here on the show. I want to remind everybody that the vibe check into the chat is presented by our friends over at Basis Health because they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. Doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. Shout out to our guy, Dre, for being partners with us over here at Inside Arkansas. Okay, so looking at a few of your chats here on the show. Let's see. Austin from work says, trying to get this in early. He says, since schedules are locked for 4 years, that means we just literally talked about that. So, okay. Well, there we go.
John, can I make a quick announcement to the chat? So I want to reiterate our rules, by the way, in terms of, because I see everyone in the chat is spamming the head coach candidates, which one, if you're going to spam head coach candidates, do not include Bill O'Brien's name ever again. Do not bring that guy's name up. I almost banned the guy immediately when he brought up Bill O'Brien. But no, I'm all, I understand everybody wants to talk coaches. We have a rule on this show. If you have a super chat that includes a coach's name, we will respond to that. So if you're, wondering, hey, why won't y'all talk about Fran Brown? Give us a super chat. We will gladly respond to whatever your coaching candidate is if you give us a super chat.
Yes, that's a good reminder for everyone else, because it's again. Also, the coach is still here. I know that there'll be a time when all that will happen, and I get it. Because here's the thing: is everyone can talk about like coaching changes and all that stuff, and I'm mad and I'm listening and all that. Y'all love this stuff, man. Y'all love it. Yeah, there's nothing more than you love than going in. Because I remember doing sports talk radio when before Musk got hired and before Pittman got hired, and every day, I didn't have to plan anything. It was just call-ins or messages of someone like, hey, what do you guys think about this guy? And then we talk about him for 5 or 10 minutes. And then another guy would be like, I know a guy who no one's talked about. And I come call in and be like, what do you think about this guy? All right, well, hear me out. You hire this guy, but you bring in this guy as the offensive coordinator. And you get this guy, you get Terrell Owens to coach the wide receivers, and it's just like, all right, okay, cool. Like, it's just, y'all love it.
Nobody is listening. Nobody is listening. I noticed today, nobody is listening to a damn word we are saying today. It's like all just, can we get this guy? Can we hire this guy? What if we hire this guy and bring in this guy? What if we hire? It's like, it's just we've lost it.
Is Coach Prime out of his prime? Because it took about 40 minutes for people to start going in on that.
Yeah.
And this time last year, it would have been right away. We would have had Deion Sanders chats before we even started the show.
Well, and I also, and I'm really not trying to I understand we're all having fun. We're going to do the coaching conversations. I always love when people be like, wait, guys, hear me out. Hear me out. I don't know if you've heard this before. Hear me out. Deion Sanders. It's like, they'll be like, hear me out. And it's like Lane Kiffin. It's like, yeah, bro, we didn't need to hear you out for that.
All right, I gotta get some more sticky notes, because I'm about to add a new list of whenever coaches, we do the no slander list. We're gonna do the not head coach list, because there's gonna be names. It's like, nope, we're not even gonna discuss. And Andrew's already added the first one of Bill O'Brien, so that's the first one. So we're just gonna add a list of coaches that names where no matter what, they do not get brought up. We do not discuss them because it's not happening, nor do we want it to happen or anything like that. So. We'll have to start putting together that list when it all comes to fruition. Jeez. Smitty says Notre Dame game determines Sam Pittman's over 500 buyout.
I don't think it does, actually, but
yeah, I was trying to remember. I gotta go back and look at the contract details. But
it's post extension. It's his record post extension. So everybody looks at his overall, including that 3-7. And he's like right on the brink there, but it's since he got that extension in 2021. And so he's 3 games over or something right now, 2 or 3 games over.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, appreciate the super chat from Smitty too. He says, "This is for the chat. If you're not in the chat, keep scrolling. Hey, stop pissing Andrew off. Stop pissing off Andrew." Yeah.
I'm not that pissed off today. I'm normally like I get pissed off at the chat all the time, but I'm not even pissed at the chat. I'm just interacting with the chat.
Yeah, there you go. That's the right way to put it. Tucker says, Marcelo's comments aside, the writing is on the wall. It's just a matter of time because Arkansas's attitude on the field reflects Pittman's leadership or lack thereof, e.g., the growing number of fumbles and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, right. Like this is fascinating. This whole thing with Marcelo and Frank Fletcher and all the ins and outs of the last day or two here for very different. But Tucker, you're right. It doesn't change the big picture outlook of where this is headed and all the conversations that are being had. It's just very specific to the Petrino angle and how it goes into play with them trying to prepare to win a football game and everything this week.
Which is also why I think it's not wise for anybody to plant your flag of like, this is definitively what's happening. And even Frank Fletcher, which I appreciate him doing his comments of like kind of doing the definitive, like there's no way Bobby's doing any of this stuff. It's like, dude, we could very well live in a world where he's the interim head coach in like 5 days. It's
That's
like
crap.
Declare, victory and do a victory lap just yet.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the story about how Bobby Petrino got hired and the Frank Fletcher angle in that? Did you guys ever hear that story?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild how it's like, not to say that Frank Fletcher is just in the know, but it's like, yeah, Frank Fletcher's the one that literally got Bobby Petrino to Arkansas. So it's like there is a friendship, which a lot of golf. Hey, shout out to Paddlefish. Super Chase says Whittingham.
I mean, listen, I certainly would never say no to Kyle Whittingham. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would love that. I would, yeah.
I don't think after 20 some odd years at Utah, he's something like, you know what? I'm ready for the SEC. I want to go to Arkansas. Like, it'd be cool.
Although he did get boat raced by our boy Joey McGuire. What did y'all make? We haven't talked about that. What did y'all make of that game? Texas Tech, who I kind of thought was fraudulent, goes into Utah and just puts belt to arse.
Money talks, man.
Yep.
That's what I take from it. That we knew that they spent a ton of money. Where people project like 30 million. Who knows what it actually was? But they went and got after it, man, in the portal and bought a bunch of players. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it can be a disaster, but it's working for them in the Big 12. I'll give them credit for that. That was emphatic. I thought that was going to be an awesome game at Utah. They're very, very hard to beat there. And yeah, they put it on them, dude.
Yeah.
I want to know a spoiler for our chat 24 hours from now. All right, guys, hear me out. Joey McGuire, Hog fan, good NIL.
Yeah.
Again, when it all goes down, I'm serious. I think on our, I guess to everyone's right, the panel over there, I'm just going to create it into where it's just going to have coaches' names with check marks of like, this is who we have talked about. And so if you ask about, hey, have you guys talked about it? Just look at the list up there. Means we've talked about it. So we may just have to put out like Instagram shorts and stuff of a coach every day. Just if we get a new coach name, here's a little couple minutes of us discussing it. And then we just refer everyone back. It's like, you could do that. You could do that.
For everybody who is up in arms about games not being played at War Memorial anymore, you want Joey McGuire to be your guy. Like you should be campaigning for that heavily. Start the GoFundMe to get him, whatever you got to do, because he is partial to those games at War Memorial. He'll bring them back. So just saying.
Dude, I think not only you bring him back, he come to Arkansas for a discount. He may come for free. That dude loved him some Razorback football, man. Like before that Liberty Bowl, I told that story. Who was I telling that to yesterday? I was talking to somebody, and it was just like I remembered that. I was like, yeah, that guy was like really over the top about how much he loved Arkansas, and it was like, all right, man, slow down, easy. He's like, you're the head coach of Texas Tech. It's crazy.
You're trolling a little bit, right?
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. See, I appreciate the super chat. Barack, he says, how did Frank get Bobby to the Hogs? Would love to hear that story. From my understanding, just real quick in a summary of it, is that Arkansas is looking for an offensive coordinator, and Frank Fletcher reached, because he's best friends with Bobby. He just asked Bobby, he's like, hey, Bobby, you should be our offensive coordinator, because he got the Texas A&M jobs and all that up. And Bobby's like, there's no way that they would want me back after all that. There's no way they would hire me back. Frank's like, well, let me make a phone call. He called up I guess, Yearcheck or whoever. He's like, hey, Bobby's available. We'd be interested. And then they went to Sam Pittman and said, hey, Bobby Petrino's interested in OC job. Would you want him? Sam Pittman goes, yes. And they reverted it back. And then they called. Frank's like, Bobby, they're interested. They'd hire you. And he's like, really? Yep. Okay. That's how it was. I mean, just simple as that. But yeah, Frank Fletcher very much involved in that and getting Bobby Petrino here to Arkansas. Again, that's my understanding. Let's see some other chats here too. Dirty Reg says, how many wins was the logical ceiling for this year's team? I believe we did a whole show kind of dedicated to this, but was it
the over-under was at 5.5, and we kind of averaged out there, I think.
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like we had a conversation where I was like, I feel like the floor is 5-7 and the ceiling is 7-5. I think I said that at one point during the preseason, and I got to be honest, I think I was wrong on both. I think their floor has now proven to be a little bit lower than 5-7 because you might have the team, you might fire the coach, you might have guys transfer out, and so that would make the ceiling or the floor lower. I also think I was wrong about their ceiling being 7-5, if I'm being honest with you. More so, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, I think the Ole Miss game kind of proves they could have won 8 games. You know what I mean? Like, there were 8 wins somewhere on that schedule. But at this point, now that the circumstances are what they are, the floor is low and the ceiling is also pretty low. But I still do feel like if you just took this Razorback team and they played the 12 games and they actually showed up and tried in the 12 games, I think their floor would still be about 5-7.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're not a train wreck.
No.
Right. Right. That's
the offense is way too good to like go 2-10, honestly. Like, even I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, there's not going to be another win. I'm like, I just don't. I think that offense is too good to lose every game unless Talon just, quits.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I agree. I could still see him getting to 5. I wouldn't be entirely shocked if they still made a bowl. I really wouldn't. Now, you're right, though, because of the defense and obviously the optics and, our guys going to let go of those are all things that you can't really take into account right now because we don't know. But yeah, just based on what we've seen on the field, dumb shit at the end of games aside, they could absolutely win a few more.
Yeah. Well, I was even telling Andrew before the show started, I was like, if Arkansas was just 4-0, which I know it's always ifs, but if they're 4-0, like, I would be going in this Notre Dame game being like, dude, Arkansas is about to beat the brakes off this team. Just because, like, how bad they are defensively. They have they're 130th in pass defense, which last time I checked, Arkansas is fairly decent at. It was like, I'd be feeling that way. But because the way you've lost and how you've lost, it just shatters any confidence and everything. And if you were 4-0 right now, like you in a way should be, or at the minimum 3-1, yeah, 6 wins, 7 wins, still 100% on the table. But right now, it's just hard to trust this team to finish out any games right now.
Well, and what conversation were we having going into the Tennessee game last year? Sam Pittman's about to get fired. Everybody's about to quit. They're about to be worried. And then all of a sudden you beat Tennessee, and now it's like, hey, you got a path to 6 wins, which they found a way to do. Not predicting for you that's what's happening here, but it's like, it is kind of crazy how the perception we view things through can change so quickly.
Don't rush the field if they win. Just don't rush the field. Just don't do it. Please don't do it.
They're 1-2, and they're ranked like 24th. Like, we can't rush the field.
Yeah, they're not 11 a.m. Shout out to Sharkansas for the super chat. We've been missing this. The Sharks SEC power ratings no one asked for. Week 4, 1 LSU, 2 Georgia, 3 Tennessee, 4 Oklahoma, 5 Texas, 6 Bama, 7 A&M, 8 Ole Miss, 9 Vandy, 10 Missouri, 11 Auburn, 12 Mississippi State, 13 Arkansas, 14 Florida, 15 South Carolina, 16 Kentucky.
That's a respectable list. Sharkansas, and he's been respectable from the start. You can make arguments here and there. I do think it's going to be interesting, Sharkansas. You're going to have a dilemma on your hands if Ole Miss beats LSU Saturday. Because then what are you going to do? Move Ole Miss to 2? Move LSU down to 7 or 8? Like, what's that going to look like? That could be your next big shakeup. But do y'all have a huge gripe with anything on this list?
No.
Not really. No.
I think it's a solid ranking, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, it might flip a team here and there, but yeah, it's pretty good, man. Not gonna lie, it's good work.
Sharkansas, you do a good job for paying us money to let us know that.
Yeah,
it's a great thing, man.
He's paying us money and giving us great rankings. I mean, this is a win-win-win.
Exactly. Everybody loves that. Timothy says, "Hey John, so sorry, buddy, but when you went dark at the end of the show yesterday, I cracked up. Sorry, buddy. Love you guys though, Big Suey. Yeah,
that was all about that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah." I was just to let everybody know my power went out. That's why. And that's, but it was one of those things where it wasn't like out for a long time. It flickered, it just like goes out and then comes right back. And I was like, great. Well, at least it happened at the end of the show. So when we were literally about to close up. So it was perfectly timed there. All right. So we'll have more of your chats here in a bit, folks, but we have to get into our heavy hitters, and it's presented by HD Roofing and Construction. And speaking of all of that craziness that was going on there from yesterday, with the storms and the rain and the craziness, some of you may have realized, oh crap, my roof was not built for this type of storm. Maybe you have some damage. Well, let HD Roofing help you out with that and help you out ASAP, because they are professionals in the business. They have integrity, they use teamwork, and they're extremely hardworking, and they're going to service the entire state of Arkansas and help in making sure that your roof is good to go. Or if you're not sure, if you just want to make sure that your roof is good to go, they will give you a free inspection and give you that peace of mind today. So give them a call at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. HD Roofing and Construction. They are the ultimate roofing people here in the state of Arkansas. We appreciate them being a part of us here at Inside Arkansas and Inside Arkansas Live. Okay, so for my heavy hitter, I got two really quick ones that are kind of random. But one we already talked about a lot, but the SEC, just because I feel like they did a really good job of the scheduling as much as possible. And I think that does deserve, we like to hate on the SEC, and it's really fun too sometimes, but they did as good of a job as I think anybody could have asked for when it came to the scheduling. So I want to give a shout out to that. And also a shout out to the Oklahoma State athletic director, because we talked yesterday about Mike Gundy being fired, and it's about messaging and it's about the confidence and everything. And yesterday he said, when he was asked about Mike Gundy was not given an option to finish the season and that this was a long-term decision, he said, quote, "I'm not worried about this week's game or the next 2 weeks. I'm worried about next year, 2 years from now, and 5 years from now." And I think that, ADs and it's everybody's got their own feelings on if they're good or bad or whatever. But that's the point I've always tried to make when it comes to coaches, is that not to say you have to fire one mid-season if you have to, but it's a matter of, don't worry about keeping a recruiting class together. Oh, we'll lose the recruiting class. We make a change. I don't worry about, but we got to make sure we keep this coordinator on, because none of that matters. What matters is, and that's the way the AD should, is like, I'm not worried about this week. I'm worried about what the next few years are going to be about. And that's why we made the decision, and we got to get going for it. So again, I just want to give a heavy hitter out to him, because he made a decision. You could say it was I don't necessarily say controversial, but just timing wise, it was very abrupt, considering a guy had literally taken your program from nothing to pretty solid, and your entire outlook is like, hey, I don't care about this week. I care about the next few years. Like, yeah, we'd love to win this week, but that's not what's my focus. My focus was making sure we win in the next few years. So shout out to Chad Weiberg, being the athletic director of Oklahoma State, and having that mentality.
21 years Gundy at Oklahoma State, and his only losing seasons were his first one and last. Is that, did I hear that stat right? I think that's, man.
Although unless
crazy.
this counts as his last, because then, you know what I mean?
Thanks. Yeah.
Although, do they have a losing record right now? So I guess technically it is a losing season.
They have to, right? Because they just got their doors blown off by Oregon, and then the thing with Tulsa. So yeah. And we know they haven't beaten a real team since they beat Arkansas last year. So
is Arkansas a real team?
Yeah, of course. We
they
like
are
to
a power
so.
four.
Yeah,
That's true.
So,
That's true.
I got a couple kind of random ones too. One, Sister Jean.
Yeah.
Sister Jean,
What'd
hanging
she
it
do?
up, man. She's still with us, but she retired. 106 years old. She just stopped working. She's the team chaplain and the mentor for Loyola Chicago basketball. And she's letting go of those duties, man. So, is the program going to be able to recover? People are talking, but shout out to Sister Jean.
I'm so glad she's retiring. She's so overrated.
How much work was she doing? Like, how much responsibility had she been? Like, at 105, how many tasks were they giving Sister Jean?
I mean, team chaplain and mentor. I don't know what went into that every day, but that was the thing. It was a headline.
Y'all remember that video of them not giving her a high five when they were coming off the court? I wonder if that led to her decision. She was like, you know what, this new era, ever since Porter Moser left, we just don't have the right dogs in here.
I'm over it. I'm over it with these kids. Yeah.
I was just over it with her, because I'm like, okay, it was fun for a year, but we don't have to keep bringing her back out there. Like, just doesn't keep happening.
What if she pulls like the Brett Favre here? Like hits the transfer portal and she follows Porter Moser, goes to Oklahoma. Oh,
that Brett
fake
Favre.
retirement. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not talking about dick pics. So anyway, I'm good. I'm done.
I didn't know if you were also referencing stealing welfare money from single mothers, but no, Sister Jean, I'm with you guys. I'm with you, John. I'm kind of anti Sister Jean, but I also 106, man. She's still kicking. Like, I can't believe she's still alive, honestly. I wonder if they'll do her like the Vandy Whistler and just have different iterations. Because the Vandy Whistler is no longer the one guy. It's there's like 7 of them. I think there might be multiple Sister Jeans for the next 50 years or so.
Yeah, because that's what everybody wants is a bunch of different reiterations of things that people don't like. That's the most fun thing in sports.
It's like a mascot at this point. Like, when one dies, you just Tusk 4, Tusk 5, Tusk 6. Like, there's
Gene 2 coming out.
Going back to Gundy just for a second before I do my heavy hitters, I've noticed a lot of people doing, and not a lot, most people like that follow college football kind of knew the Gundy thing was coming and weren't necessarily stunned. I've seen a lot of people like Matt Campbell. Did y'all see him? He's like, yeah, it's just a crazy era of college football we live in where someone like Mike Gundy can get fired. And I've seen a lot of people kind of defending that, of being like, man, I just, with all he's done for the program, that's crazy. I feel like these people just missed everything that was happening. Like, we all kind of knew this was coming. You could argue, hey, should they have given him the end of the year? Could they have done it later? But I was surprised by like just the reaction to Gundy. But my heavy hitter are 2 NBA teams. So I think we all agree NBA logos were way better in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, just all across the board, every team had better logos. Credit to the Philadelphia 76ers for acknowledging this and going back to the good, the cool classic Sixers logo, the Allen Iverson stepping over Ty Lue, those Sixers like that. I mean, just looks so much better than whatever they had going on before. Also, the Timberwolves, who had started to experiment with this last year, they are going back to their awesome jerseys with the tree lines on the jersey and everything, the cool font. I love this. I've always kind of wondered why NBA teams. I've always wondered why NBA teams just went away. Like, everybody had cooler logos in the 90s. Like the Magic, the Magic's not terribly different. Like, their pinstripe jerseys, those were awesome. I'm glad that some teams are coming to their senses, and I'm hoping that more will follow suit. But I love that, and I also wanted to give a shout out to Jackson Dart, who just got named the starter at New York. I was making fun of Russell Wilson. He was my worst of the weekend, and now I feel bad because he has now been replaced by Jackson Dart.
You did this.
Yes. I did. I want to say, just to your point about the logos and everything else, I think it just makes me old head. I think basketball in every way, shape, and form was at its peak and pinnacle in the 90s. And I don't know, maybe that's just me being biased. So I think about like Michael Jordan. I think about the Razorbacks, in the 90s, really good. I think about the logos. I think about all of that. Again, I'm probably just being biased, but yeah, 90s always seem like the best. I wonder if anybody like is going to 20 years from now look back and be like, man, we got to get those jerseys from the NBA back in the 2020s or whatever. It just makes me wonder if that's ever going to be a thing. I don't know. Maybe.
Are
maybe
we
those Miami Vices? Y'all remember those Miami Heat jerseys that were like cool? Maybe those will be like, oh, hey, we should bring those back.
Yeah.
You remember the sleeved jerseys they tried to do a few years ago? Kind of looked like weird football jerseys in a way. Wasn't crazy about those. Where do you guys stand on the shorts? Were you the obnoxiously long shorts guys or the obnoxiously short shorts that we see now, or just somewhere in between?
I mean, somewhere in between usually, but if I was going to lean one way, it'd be the longer shorts because I just feel like that's basketball.
I'll never forget being in Providence, John, and
yes.
McNeese was out there. I can't remember if they were warming up or if it was their practice day or whatever. And their big man, it was like a chick wearing booty shorts or something. Like his shorts were so much shorter than his compressions that you wear underneath. And he was just posting up those GAs with his rear end just all over him. And we're looking at it like, this has got to be uncomfortable for these poor kids. Like, they're getting room and board and a meal plan. They didn't sign up for this. It was kind of wild.
Yeah, he looked like he was smuggling grapes down there, man. It was weird.
It was nuts.
Was it Jameer Nelson maybe at St. Joe's that I feel like when I think of those long shorts, of like the shorts that are down to your ankle, Jameer Nelson was running the point at St. Joe's. His shorts were touching his shoelaces. Like, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe. And as a kid, I remember my mom used to get on to me because I would kind of not sag a little bit, but I would kind of, have my shorts. I'd have them down there while I was out there hooping. I like, now that I'm an adult though, I like the short shorts a little bit better. And when I was a kid, I remember growing up seeing the short shorts, and I was like, "That's insane that people wore that." Now I gotta be honest, I think it's more functional. One, I mean, you need to be able to move around a little bit. I don't know if you need it to be as short as that McNeese guy, but I'm okay with the short shorts. I kind of like those.
Did either of you guys ever own a tall tee?
No, I didn't.
No, I wasn't a tall tee guy. I did own a pair of shorts or jeans that were my dad, refused to ever let his kids sag their pants. I remember my mom bought me a pair of Tommy Hilfiger jeans that looked like it was sagging because it had like boxer kind of like things, but they weren't.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's really sad. It's like, we don't want you to sag, but you just want to look like you're sagging. Yeah. Anyways, Curtis, you say you had another one, or did you already mention both of yours?
Oh shoot, I did. I don't remember what it was now.
Okay,
we're good here.
Okay, well, I was going to say I'm just going to bring this up because of the team picture for the basketball team. How about that? Good looking crew, right? We got a number 99. You know, like it.
You know, Elmer's standing a little bit more front and center, so he looks like the tallest guy on the team all of a sudden. Dude's a unit, man. Look at that guy.
Yeah. It's a big boy.
And look, why does Billy look so much taller than Carter?
It's kind of funny, yeah. I don't know, like, dude, the height fiasco and the like height gate of this Razorback basketball team has been plaguing everything.
I was wondering what to talk about on the Pot the Palace for tomorrow morning. So, spoiler alert, we've got a team pick to overanalyze here. It's a big team, though, man. There's a large team. Look at Kareem Rattel over there.
Yeah. It is a big team. I wish that the guys knew what was at stake when they were taking these pictures. Like they don't look on their faces like they understand how important this is. Like, because I mean, you know, if you're kind of slouched a little bit, you can move around 2-3 inches, and if you really stand up, I always get on my tiptoes sometimes whenever I have the opportunity. I get on my tiptoes if I need to. I would absolutely. People would be looking at the team picture and be like, "Wow, Andrew Ellis, 6'4", huh?"
Yeah.
I also too, because again, we're just bringing up random stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on? Do you like team pictures where everyone's sitting in like the stands? Do you like the team pictures where everyone's standing together, or do you like the hybrid like this one where you got the mixture of the sitting and the standing?
I like this. I like this for hoops. I think.
Okay.
Guards sitting down, wings and big standing up. Looks good.
Yeah.
I prefer. And I'm sure they took one this way, but also having the staff in there. Like Cal should be the guy sitting in the middle with the basketball, and then you got the assistants and everything to either side of the guys. Those are ones that I like the best. But this looks good. I would have had him. Whoever took the picture though, you could have had him tighten up a little bit. Shoulder to shoulder in the back. Elmer, you're 3 feet in front of everybody else. Like, get in line, buddy. Just make it look a little bit more sharp. But this is nice. It's good.
Call me crazy. I like it when they get them boys on a knee. I want the front row. I want them on a knee.
Oh yeah,
basketball, holding the basketball in one hand. I want all the guards doing that, and the bigs can be standing behind them.
Yeah, I wish Cal was in this pick again. Like you said, that maybe they already did one, but because I know that Cal would be the only one smiling. Like he would just be the only one, just grinning from ear to ear. He's just like, I'm about to go to the Final Four.
Those are the good ones where it's like they just finished conditioning and Cal's smiling. All the other guys have death on their face. Yes. Kind of like that with Nolan the other day.
Yes. Yeah. No. It's again, team pictures. One way or the other, it doesn't really matter. But anyways, I wanted to share that because it was
Are we upset that this team is practicing, prepping for the season, and John Calipari's just taking Hunter Yurachek to Yankees games? Are we?
I'm sure there are people.
I was going to 100% ignore that, Curtis.
That was just such a bummer. That was such a bummer, and like seeing it of like, what's happening here? Is like Cal trying to rally the troops the best way he can? Was he asked to? Is he just wanting to? It just seemed like really weird, all things considered. And then you see the AD like that everyone wants gone is hanging out up at a Yankees game. Not to say he can't do that. I'm just saying it's perception, perception, key to everything. I wasn't a fan. I really wasn't a fan. But Cal, Cal's Cal. Let Cal do what he wants to do.
Oh, I remember my other heavy hitter was real quick because he just commented in the chat. It gets Cats by 90. Good to see you back. Cats by 90. Were we talking too much about football and everything else that, because I know you tune in and we appreciate it, but were you bothered by that? Because you guys are the epitome of that meme, like get in there and make it about you. So it's good to see you back in here. We pulled up and talked a little basketball for you just so you could have something to react to. We did that for you. We're glad you're here.
He demanded the Kentucky pick be put up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get that where I think that some of the people, because we always welcome people from other fan bases, and we have plenty of friends from other fan bases, but sometimes I do think they get confused and they're like, wait, why are y'all only talking about Arkansas? Why don't you talk about Auburn? And it's like, well, it's like we're doing our thing over here.
Yeah. That's the stuff that you had to say for a 3-hour sports talk radio show, like every day. You had to talk about a lot of things.
NFL and
Yeah, like a lot of nonsense. We're going to have a recruiting update presented by Goat Lab with our guy Dudley here in just a second, because there was a decommitment yesterday in football. But we're talking about the schedule, SEC schedule, and how everyone's happy. Lane Kiffin's not. Lane Kiffin on Oklahoma being Ole Miss's permanent SEC opponent. He says, quote, "We don't have anything in common with them. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is." So I guess he was not very happy about having to play Oklahoma permanently. Wonder who he would have preferred.
That's interesting. Oh, wait, who said that?
Lane Kiffin.
Okay, Lane Kiffin. Somebody else had a similar reaction. Was it Elko on Missouri?
Yes, with Missouri A&M. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Elko was like, I don't get it, with that one, but whatever. And I know Missouri fans were upset because they felt like South Carolina should have been one of theirs, even though it's really far away, but it's like the battle for Columbia or something. So it's kind of funny to hear those guys say that. Shout out to Elko for throwing shade at Drink and Como.
Well, and it's like, I get it. It's like where you're coming from. But again, unless all three teams you're pissed about, like you're not going to get all three to just be perfect. Like Arkansas getting LSU, Texas, and Missouri. Like almost every Razorback fan was like, we don't want Missouri. We don't want Missouri. It's like, yeah, but if it means you get Texas and LSU, you can live with it. It's like you got to, it'd be one thing if Bama, we're not going to give you Auburn or whoever. It's like, okay, yeah, but they did a good job of trying to keep the rivalries alive. And I think it was they wanted the trophy games, and that's why Arkansas and Missouri, because they couldn't not take away the trophy game of the Shelter Insurance Battle Line Rivalry Trophy. So.
I am a little weirded out by Kiffin being like, confused by that. I think if you look at Oklahoma, they are kind of the like redheaded stepchild of the SEC right now, where like geographically they don't really make sense for most teams. Arkansas they actually do, but like most teams in the SEC they don't really make any sense. So it's like half the league is like not even an option for them in terms of permanent opponents. And so you look at the 5 or 6 teams that they would even have a chance to be permanent opponents with. Texas, they're all booked up. A&M, they're all booked up. I don't know who else they have or whatever, but it's like I'm sure Oklahoma has their 3, but it's like there was going to have to be one that didn't really make sense for Oklahoma. I thought there might be a chance it would be Arkansas, honestly. Like if Arkansas had Oklahoma, I wouldn't have been like stunned, and I wouldn't have been like, wow, how did this happen? It's like, well, they had to pick somebody. Ole Miss is not super close to Norman, but closer than Florida, closer than, South Carolina. And so they kind of just had to throw them with somebody. Who else was Ole Miss's opponents? They had Mississippi State, I assume. Who was their third?
I want to say it was LSU, wasn't it?
Gotcha. So who else would he have wanted? Like, would he have wanted
Arkansas?
Arkansas, I guess. Bama?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah, he probably did want Arkansas. That's why he's upset.
Yeah. It's like, if we're going to have to go that direction anyways, might as well just stop in Fayetteville instead of having to keep going to Norman and do it that way. All right. So, folks, we're going to have a recruiting update here in a bit, and we'll play it from Dudley, and then we'll come back and we'll get to some of your final chats and everything here in just a second. But as a reminder, we and all of our recruiting updates and all of our recruiting elements are brought to you by our friends over at Goat Lab Red. It is the #1 pre- and post-game spot for Razorback fans this football season. Hey, even if you don't have a ticket to the Notre Dame game, you need to go over there to Goat Lab Red at their new location at 1214 Garland Avenue, North Garland Avenue. In fact, if you may be there at lunch right now and you're watching us, because every day at noon, they play Inside Arkansas live right there on their TVs. So be sure to check it out each and every day. But it's a great spot where they have some great brews like Razorback, Tusk, and Tusk Light. They have great deals during the games when it comes to some of their phenomenal wings. It's an awesome spot to get some great food. They got their signature burgers as well. And each and every day, you can check them out at lunch. You can also go there before the game on Saturday. You can watch the game there if you don't have a ticket. Hey, post-game tailgating party is going to be at Goat Lab Red right there in Fayetteville. It's walkable right there from the Razorback Football Stadium at 1214 North Garland Avenue. So check them out today. And a reminder that they are the official sponsor of our Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast with Dudley Dawson. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear what Dudley has to say.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Well, welcome into a Tuesday night update on the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast presented by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson, and wanted to get on here and talk about what has become yet another decommit from Arkansas. That's 3 in 3 weeks. This one is Javion Martin, a tight end from Pflugerville, Texas, 3-star guy. I don't really think this one had much to do with Arkansas's 2 losses. He had been looking at some other schools and taking some visits. That's something you see out of several of these guys right now, going to different other schools, taking visits during the season. I don't think this is going to be the last decommit, and we're going to just see how the season goes. Again, I don't think Javion Martin, this happened over these last 2 losses. He had said he really, one of the reasons he committed over a bunch of other schools was because he really liked the staff. But I think it's just a situation in modern day college football recruiting where you take a look and get the best situation you can for me. And yes, sometimes that means money. Sometimes that means opportunity to play. Sometimes that means a place that you think you have the opportunity to go and win football games. And right now, as we've said in the past 3 weeks, Bryce Gilmore, the offensive lineman that was their top recruit, at least number-wise, has decommitted and committed to Texas Tech. You had Javon Gilmore, the quarterback, who withdrew from his school, and whether he decommitted or Arkansas decommitted him, that he is no longer on the list, which now has 24 players on it. That is 10 defensive players, 14 offensive players. It's going to be something to watch a lot here. A lot of noise, is happening around the program that obviously is going to be, filtered out to the recruits. And that's not only going to be them just hearing from Arkansas fans and Arkansas administrators and Arkansas podcasters and all that, but the other schools are going to try to take advantage of an uncertain situation right now. There's a lot of people that think there'll be a coaching change soon or a coaching change at the end of the year. But while it is in a kind of a status quo thing, the other schools are going to take their time and really go after it. Again, we want to thank our sponsor, Goat Lab Brewery. They have locations in Lowell and a new one. Goat Lab Red is in Fayetteville on the corner of Oak Plaza in North Garland. I know they're going to have a lot of people there on Saturday night. It's after the ball game where Arkansas will either be celebrating a win over Notre Dame or drowning their sorrows. Great food, great craft beers. It is just we're going to see what the rest of the week holds. But again, 3 decommits now from the list, 24 left. Arkansas is still, even with this decommit, 33rd in the 247 recruiting rankings and 11th in the SEC. Again, I don't expect this will be the last one, but we'll be here to do it, and Go Lab Brewery will be here to sponsor us. Again, we'll get back with you as the week goes along, as plan to have some guests on, including Fitz Hill, former Arkansas coach who has obviously gone other places, done a lot of stuff, and look forward to getting his opinions on what's going on now and what it was like back in the day when some of the similar situation was coming out. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on YouTube, as well as subscribing to the audio version of my podcast and the others that content we have here. Again, I'm Dudley Dawson. I'll see you next time. And as I always say, especially in these days, remember yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. Go out and do something to make the world a better place.
All right, that was Dudley Dawson of Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast host, presented by Goat Lab. And always shout out to him for quoting one of my favorite movies, Kung Fu Panda, at the end of every podcast there. I don't know if that's actually where it came from. That's where I first heard it. So
sounds good to me.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. So, but we appreciate them, appreciate Goat Lab. And as a reminder, we're going to have some more details on this, but for Prime Time at the Palace, which is going to be happening next Friday, October 3rd at 8 p.m., we're going to have a little Pod at the Palace pregame action happening at Goat Lab Red there on that Friday, 6 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock. We're still nailing down a time, but we're going to be hanging out there doing a little pregame action before that and getting you ready for the game. And then we'll head over to the game. And I know Curtis is also going to have a Pod at the Palace post-game show. I guess I can't call it a game. What post Prime Time at the Palace show. Okay with that.
There's too much. There's so many plays on words here. I'm not accusing them of stealing my shtick with Pod at the Palace, but yeah, we're going to have to figure out the wording of this going into it. Like, what are we going to say? Welcome into the Pod at the Palace, Prime Time at the Palace, post prime. I don't even know what to say yet. I'm going to have to really work on it.
Yeah.
And then say it 5 times fast to make sure I can do it when we go live for these things. So
yeah, maybe call it like a Prime Pod at the Palace.
There we go. Yeah.
Prime Pod at the Palace. Just throwing in something in there. But it'll be great. And it works out because bye week is next week for Arkansas, which I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in what's going on football-wise during that bye week, see if anything happens. But also some basketball action starting up. Hopefully Cal comes out and does an Elvis impersonation like he did. Didn't he do that one time at Kentucky? He's like, he had a wig on. He was like with a microphone. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. You know what? He's above that now. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He just wins at a high level at Arkansas now.
I remember Danielle Musselman used to host like a little talent show type of thing for the red-white game, and it stunk.
Yeah, they had
it wasn't her fault.
Trey Wade was dressed up like a PB&J sandwich or whatever, and
they tried some weird things that never really worked.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I appreciated the effort, but it's one of those things like, hey, just know your team and like figure out like, hey, what would be really good for this personality of the team, and then go with that. Like, hey, there could have been a talent show thing or whatever that could have been great for a certain team. Doesn't mean it have to be every year. It doesn't mean it has to be that team. Just go with something like, hey, if this team's got personality of one way, do something. But if all of them are just pissed off and want to just put the ball in the hole and you leave them alone, then maybe not do anything. Maybe just stick with that.
I feel like the last year was the best. They just turned out the lights, did the player intros, and then they played the game. But Muss was so mad sitting there at the middle that he was yelling at his assistant coaches to yank dudes out of the game, and then he was over on the sideline snapping out on folks. So it was just wild times. It's going to be very, very different for Cal. Because they used to do the Big Blue Madness thing would be on SEC Network or whatever, and they would just have Cal like with the headset on talking to the announcers, and it came off as very like NBA All-Star game, like very exhibition, like he was throwing a bunch of lobs, not playing any defense. Like it was very much for the fans. If that's what it's going to be on Friday next week, I don't care. I'm just looking forward to seeing these guys get out there and get after it a little bit.
Yeah. And this is probably a question I should know, but this is not on like SEC Network Plus or anything, right? Like this is just fans showing up. Like that's the only way you can see it, correct?
I think that's going to be the case. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, they haven't said one way or the other just yet. I don't think. I'd have to go back and look at the press release again. I don't think it's going to be streamed or anything.
Yeah. Well, they did say, and I guess put out the announcement, which, is the ACC SEC Challenge against Louisville is going to be a 6 p.m. tip on that Saturday. So late game. For basketball, though, because I know like football, you always want night games, but for basketball, I think maybe we've even talked about this. Saturday games for basketball, is there like a preferred perfect time for like the peak atmosphere and everything?
I don't know.
I feel like 1 p.m. has always been kind of like my go-to for basketball.
I prefer a little earlier on Saturdays, I think, but I don't guess I really have a preference. I just don't like the super early ones. Like I don't like the 11 a.m. tip-offs, just like I don't like the 11 a.m. kickoffs. So anything after that is cool for me. But like my prime viewing window is early to mid-afternoon. You know what I mean? So I'd probably go with that.
I like the early to mid-afternoon as well, like that 1-2 p.m. range. I also like that in basketball. The game and the telecast and everything looks the same no matter what time. Because that's the thing with football. It's like it can be a great atmosphere, but if it's extremely sunny outside, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same. Basketball, it doesn't really have that issue. Like it can be jumping in there at 1 p.m., right after lunch. Yeah.
Well, it's like I've always, as long as it's not, I know it's, I guess, Eastern time, but that tip off for a 9 p.m. Saturday game against Kentucky was awful. Like, I don't want that. I don't want an 8 p.m. tip, all that. But here's another thing too. It sucks that one of the downsides to SEC being tied with ESPN and everything is that no game's ever going to start on time unless you're the first game. So it's like that game against Louisville is probably not going to start on time. It's at 6 p.m., but you're going to have to, folks, you're just going to have to go to ESPNU or ESPN News, and watch the first couple minutes because they got to finish the game between, Loyola Marymount and Duke or whoever's going on at that time. Like it's just going to happen. So just be ready for it. But either way, basketball will be here before we know it. So make sure you turn into Pod at the Palace for all of your Razorback basketball coverage. All right. So a few of your chats, folks. We appreciate everybody tuning in here. Hayden says, we need the Inside Arkansas crew to do sideline hype reporting circa McAfee for big games, but only for Razorback games. Okay. Like what's the hype? What's hype reporting? Like, what is that? I'm honestly asking.
Maybe I'm not familiar with this. I guess McAfee goes on the sideline of big games.
Yeah.
It's like, I would love to be on the sideline for football games. That would be awesome.
It would be cool.
Yep. It would be cool.
Fun,
and I just tell you what, Hayden, if that ever happens, if we're ever allowed, we will let you know and we will get the hype going.
Heck yeah.
Michelle Wilkerson wants to know, LOL, how can you not like a nun? Okay, see, this is the problem here. You're the problem, Michelle. As you look at a nun, you're like, oh, this person's perfect, so you have to like them. No, I don't. And I have nothing against her personally. It's kind of the same thing with Taylor Swift. I have nothing against Taylor Swift personally. It's the surrounding coverage and constant just everything about it. It's the same thing with Mark Pope. I don't have a problem with Mark Pope, but every time the man farts and everyone's like, oh, this guy gets it. This guy gets it. Yeah, I hate that. And that makes me not like the guy. So it's all the same stuff. It's like coverage and obsession make me not like people. That's what it is.
John just successfully ticked off an entire religion, an entire cult following, and BBN all in about 20 seconds. This is good work, man.
I'm talented, man. I'm talented. Yeah, maybe piss off the biggest masses there. Let's see. Trey, I guess we saw him at the picture. Number 15 for the basketball team is first off the bus. Dude is tall and looks like he could kick someone's ass.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he's lost like 25 pounds or something since he got to campus, which is crazy because he's huge. You know what I mean? And I would say listen to that Hog Pod with Carter Knox on there. But one of the things I heard right away is that some of the big guys were getting frustrated because they're more athletic, they're more talented than he is. I'll just be honest about that. But you just can't move him. Like, you can't do anything with him. And I think that was frustrating some guys. Like, how do we go up against a dude like this? And then Carter Knox was talking on that interview that he did about when he set screens. Like, imagine being a guard trying to get through a screen that dude sets. I wouldn't want anything to do with that, man. It's just a cement, brick wall, whatever you want to call it there. When he lays it on you, you're going to feel it.
All right, Curtis, can I ask you a question? Because I'm not a ball knower. You can't set a pick with your elbows out, right?
You can do whatever you want, but no, you're supposed to be tucked.
Okay. Because when at the Calipari fantasy camp, there was a certain individual that would set his picks with his elbows out. So if you tried to run by it, you're going to catch an elbow.
Was this was a woman or a man? Because women, when they set picks, a lot of, like in women's basketball, and I'm not even trying to make a joke here, they do this motion sometimes because that's where they're, anyways, you get it. Was it a man?
Yeah. He literally had his elbows out like this. So
you got to learn if they're doing that to you, John, you have to retaliate with what they're not covering. It's called the art of the sack tap as you're running off of screens. So.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You know exactly the type of player I'm talking about. He was the guy that's, was doing some cherry picking. He was the guy that would, go in and be, woo! Every time somebody would shoot the ball just to, just trying to get every advantage he could type of guy. And I'm like, all right, buddy, just like we're out here and he's like, do you see the people out here? Do you see what we're doing? It's like, what's going to happen? Although they did get awards out like at the Herman's thing, but I was like, maybe he's trying to get one of those, but he didn't get one of them. So it made me happy. Also, let's see. I don't think of, John Sullivan's talking about the Brad Marcello thing. He says, when he added baby to the end of he's working those phones, that was some confidence. I would believe what was said first. So
that's a fair assessment there, because he did kind of say it with his chest. Oh, he's working the phones, baby. And I kind of thought that at the time too. I was like, he's got a little bit of conviction behind him. But
yeah. Also, silver chat from Evan. Appreciate it, man. It goes, I agree, John. I think we beat Notre Dame bad enough for them to question their theology. # Protestants. Stop.
He says, I agree, John. Did you say that, John?
I don't think so. Maybe it was like he's like, I agree with John about Sister Jean. So here I am going to go off about the Catholic religion. Maybe that's where he got it from. But I don't remember bringing up that. It's nothing to that extent that I was saying. But either way, appreciate it though, Evan, for your agreeance there. I wonder if Cal's going to be a little hurt if Arkansas beats Notre Dame. Is he going to have be like, man, I was happy for the Hogs, but I'm going to have to go to mass a little bit longer tomorrow. He's going to be one of those things.
What did you say? The Lou Holtz was coming for the Northwest Arkansas Notre Dame chapter. What the heck was that?
Yeah, it was the Notre Dame chapter. It's like the Notre Dame fans of Arkansas. It's like a club that they have. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. And just a few more here. How do you guys think about this from GZM? So South Carolina started 3-3 last year and finished 9-3. Maybe the Hogs can do something similar. I mean, yeah, maybe a bomb drops and we all die. Like, yeah, you could play this game all day long, but it's like, doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Well, it is the middle of the week, so everybody's going to shift from fire the coach and the athletic director immediately to they're going to beat Notre Dame. And college football playoff is still within grasp.
It'll spin back on us when they beat Notre Dame. There will be a lot of people that are like, y'all told us this team was in trouble. Y'all told us this team was going to go 5-7, 6-6, and I see them beat Notre Dame. So what's going on? Yeah, it'll flip real quick. Don't you worry.
Also, I brought this up from Cats by Night. Says Kentucky has more size. Shut up. Just stop. Just shut up.
Do they?
No, no, they don't. But it's like but when you got the Kentucky on your shirt, it's like you're a couple inches taller than everybody else. Because
don't you have a video of them at some wilderness retreat you can go watch? Or
yeah, it's like don't you guys have stuff there of showing Mark Pope like wearing blue, so you guys could just be like, oh my goodness, this man.
Right? Yeah. Shouldn't you be steam cleaning his Letterman right now? Or
Hey, he was late for practice the other day. Did y'all see that?
he's late for a lot of things. Yeah.
Mark Pope is late for practice. Oh yeah, you
I
guys
just
are
saw
done.
some people complaining about it. I don't know if it's a real thing or not, but
You guys are done. You guys ain't making it. You're cooked. You're absolutely cooked. All right. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
Mark Pope's giving off big Eric Musselman vibes. Big Eric Musselman vibes with the social media stuff. Go look at some of that.
I don't want to. I want to keep my lunch in my stomach if I can. So good to know.
That wasn't actually my final thought, but my final thought is thanks to everyone who's been tuning into the Pod at the Palace. It's been funny because, on Monday, just opened the show by welcoming all the people who were over it with football and they wanted to move on to basketball. And the numbers have actually been crazy this week. I was like, dang, it really happened to a degree, but obviously we've got a lot of people watching here as well. So even though it's a little bit shaky right now with some stuff that's going on, we're really excited about everything we got going on. So appreciate everybody for continuing to rock with us and staying tapped into everything we got going on. And if you're new and you haven't done so already, subscribe to that YouTube channel. Please, we would certainly appreciate it. You probably want to turn those notifications on because anytime something happens, we post new content, we go live, you're going to want to know about it. And seems like there might be a lot of that coming up here in the near future. So stay tuned. Yeah,
I'm glad that everyone was lying Saturday when they were like, oh, I'm done. I'm out, man. I'm not consuming any content, none of that. Because we've had a great week in terms of participation, people being here. We've had a fun time, and I know the discussions are crazy these days. Who knows what? By the time the show starts tomorrow, I'm sure there will be another new report that we're going to have to react to and all that. But it is fun to experience this together as a fan base, and appreciate you guys for tapping in with us. And we're going to keep bringing the heat, man. No matter what happens, football, basketball, or baseball, we're gonna be here. We're going to keep doing our job, depending on who, regardless of whoever is doing their jobs. We will do our jobs.
And that kind of made me think of the Shane Gillis skit when he's talking about Remember the Titans. It's the second reference, but he's just like, the people went from being like, they don't belong in our school to, wait a minute, the high school team's 4-0. Those are my brothers. That's how I feel about with Razorback fans. It's just like, I'm not listening to another or hear another piece of content. Wait a minute, Bobby Petrino might be undermining Pittman. I have to know more. Like, that's kind of the same thing, man.
Wait, Vegas has Arkansas as only a 3.5-point underdog? Wait a minute, those are my brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Andrew, do you want to go ahead and do my outro because you did such a phenomenal job yesterday?
No, I think I got to leave it to you. I got to leave it to the expert.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate it. Well, we do appreciate everybody listening and watching in today on Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here in Inside Arkansas. Check out all of our audio version podcasts wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, the Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast with Dudley Dawson, Inside Arkansas Football Podcast. We got it all right here at Inside Arkansas. Be sure to check out all of our social media for all the latest of what's going on with Razorback football. That'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson and intern Cameron, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.